where we will be allowing you to actually ask questions during that time. Um, so I'd like to introduce our speaker today. Our speaker today is Mr. Ahmed Majid Ali. He is the founder of Value Engineering Experts and a partner at Al Azuni Consulting Office. Uh, Mr. Ahmed has delivered more than 2.6 billion US dollars of capital cost savings in leading more than 50 value engineering studies on construction projects that have a total construction value of over $11 billion. Ahmed is a certified value specialist and a project management professional. He has over 15 years of experience in the field, in the construction industry, and in the field of value engineering studies. He is a licensed value engineer and instructor by SAVE International, which is the authority for value engineering, has trained multiple individuals and corporations in value engineering methodology. Engineer Ahmed is also a Saudi Aramco subject matter expert and approved value engineering team leader for the Royal Commission of Jubail and Yanbu, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Defense in Saudi Arabia, and multiple reputable government organizations and private section entities. With that, I'll hand over to Engineer Ahmed, who will be presenting today on a very exciting topic, something that I myself have personal interest in as well, and looking forward to learning something new today. Over to you, Engineer Ahmed.
Thank you, Hashim. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Thank you, everyone, for participating with us in this webinar that is will be made in collaboration with BMI KSA. Just before I start talking, I would like to cross-check that you can see my shared screen and that my voice is clear and not cutting and everything is going well. Just write to me that everything is okay so we can go ahead. Thank you. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This webinar is going to be presented in English. However, I will desert it with some Arabic terminologies or Arabic words to make sure that everyone got a background about what we are talking into value engineering. Before jumping into value engineering, just to break the ice, I would love to tell you a small story. At the early start of the COVID-19 crisis, I was in a value engineering workshop in Jazan, which was planned to be a 5 days long workshop. However, it has been cancelled at the middle of the second day due to the COVID-19 health precautions. It was at the very early start of COVID-19, but the client found out that it would be more safe to adjourn the session due to social distancing precautions. On my flight to back to Riyadh, I was thinking about how it shall be if it's a crisis, or if that would be a total or a semi-total closure. How my business as a value engineering specialist could sustain, which is already based on the interaction and engaging people in a workshop style. So I started asking myself some question, analyzing the problem, identifying the reasons that how it works in management and as well in value engineering. How can I deal with this situation and then prepare an action plan? This is just a small story. It's not introducing a Superman, or it's not to catch up with the lesson learned. It is just breaking the ice, as I said. Through this 2 hours flight, I have decided to go with an action plan of 3 pillars. Number 1 is going for public value engineering certified courses, certified trainings. Over the last 10 years, I had the pleasure of introducing value engineering in certified courses for corporates. But I didn't go into a deep marketing and into the deep way of addressing public courses. So this started once after I landed to Riyadh with the idea of establishing VE Experts as a digital platform only specialized into the value engineering certified trainings. The second pillar is to let people know about the known but hidden treasures of value engineering knowledge. I have started doing that by publish a free series of webinars called Learn Value Engineering from Scratch, presented by VE experts, and we have a great demand, and it was very collaborative and very interactive, and I loved the idea, and then developed the idea with integrating it with multiple presenters, experts in their domain, in agility, in storm drainage, in lead and sustainability. And we have created VE experts WhatsApp groups. We were dealing to more than starting with tons of people, now more than 5,000 engineers in our groups, and we are trying to keep learning together the benefits of value engineering. And this is actually one of those free webinars that I would have the pleasure to have it and to host it. The third one is to allow some more time for performing one of my hobbies, uh, which is creating this little bit strange hobby, which is creating a stunning and unique PowerPoint presentations. I know that this is strange, but after a terrible failing in drawings and coloring, I found that this is the thing that is really one of the things that I found myself creative in. So I have started creating this series that you will find it now of food info graphical PowerPoint presentations. The first time when I introduced this concept in my LinkedIn posts and in my first webinar, the people loved it, and they found it a very simple and easy way to illustrate the deep of uh, knowledge of value engineering knowledge into a beautiful and a simple way. And this is the style that we will use it for today's webinar. So inshallah, it's gonna be an interesting topic. It's not scientific presentation. It's just to know the basics of value engineering in a interesting and fruitful way. Starting going into value engineering, and thank you for listening. The first plate is describing the value methodology definition. Away from the complicated terminology definitions, value methodology, منهجية القيمة. What does it mean? What it actually entails? When we answer those four questions, what, who, why, and how, we can simply answer the question, what is value methodology in a proper style? Value methodology is a systematic process. So what is this methodology? It's a systematic process. عملية منظمة. What is this systematic process? Systematic process includes phases and steps, that is dependent steps. You cannot go for phase 2 or for step number 2 unless you are done in a proper way with phase 1. The outputs of phase 1 are actually the inputs of phase 2, and the outputs of phase 2 would be the inputs for phase 3, and etc. This is how value engineering works. So what is the methodology? The methodology should be a very systematic process following a rigid job plan. So this is value engineering. What you might see before that doesn't follow a systematic process, right? I'm sorry, that doesn't follow a systematic process is not value engineering and is not following the value methodology. Who, who will perform the value methodology or the value engineering. It is used by a multidisciplinary team, طاقم عمل متعدد التخصصات. So you need to have a multidisciplinary team to cover all the disciplines that is going to be subjected to the study. So it's a systematic process used by a multidisciplinary team. Why, with a multidisciplinary team, why it's not only project manager, why it's not only the certified person? Because you need to cover all the disciplines of project study. What is the purpose of having this methodology? Why I'm doing this methodology? This methodology targeting the value is there to improve the value of a project, of a product, or a process. Okay, so it's not only for construction. It's not only for construction. This is one of the misconceptions. It has been emerged from the manufacturing, from the industry, and then it has been used in construction, in IT, in medical treatment. So it fits product, project, and the processes. However, the methodology itself need to be customized, need to be tailored by a specialist person with a multiple experience in this field who can put it in the right way. So what it's a systematic process who used by a multidisciplinary team. Why? Just to improve the value. How it can improve the value? What is the know-how of this methodology? Through the analysis of functions, by analyzing functions and resources. So that's it. This is value methodology in a simple way. Okay, it's a systematic process used by a multidisciplinary team to improve the value through analyzing the functions. You need to know what are the designed functions, what are the selected functions that is going to represent the client needs and the project objectives. And you need to analyze as well the resources allocated to fulfill this requirement and satisfy those subjected functions. This is value methodology, and this is a very complicated definition that you will find it in the academic books about value methodology, again, in simple way. What this carrot says, this carrot tell us the main milestones of value methodology history. The most important milestones in value analysis or value engineering or value management or value methodology, for us, it's all terminologies for the same operating system, value methodology. Okay. The value analysis concept emerged by Lori Miles or Lawrence Miles, you see, in 1947, many decades ago, at General Electric. That's why I have mentioned that it is emerged into the manufacturing and then exported to the construction and into other industries as well. In 1954, the United States Navy, البحرية الأمريكية, or the Sea Force, adopts the value engineering process and adds VE incentive clause. What is this incentive clause? فقرة للتحفيز أو للتحميس، okay? أو تقدر تسميها إنه it's a kind of mutual benefit, okay? If the contractor is going to perform value engineering and he is able to hire a third-party consultant or to do it himself, and he can generate saving, potential saving, it is like a revenue, okay? When it is generating saving, the saving would be shared between the client and between the organization, the contractor or the consultant himself. And in FedEx contracts, there is actually an incentive clause in FedEx that is already mentioning the percentage of this incentive dealing with value engineering between the client and the contractor after award. Then in 1959, SAVE formed in Washington. It was called SAVE, not SAVE International. And SAVE is an acronym for Society of American Value Engineers. So it's not save Wafar, it's not the verb save. It's Society of American Value Engineers. It's an acronym, okay? So it starts with American, it's formed in Washington, and then it has been promoted and it has been developed into many further countries and has been adopted worldwide. And then SAVE has multiple affiliates and many large chapters, and then they have transformed from SAVE to SAVE International. They still love the word SAVE because it's an acronym and it's talking about saving money, so they love it. So they would like to keep it, even it's American, but it becomes international. However, they love the word SAVE and they just attach the word international to the old name of SAVE. So it becomes SAVE International. SAVE International is the sole and premier organization devoted to promote value methodology and to issue an international certification that is well known and internationally acknowledged worldwide. So SAVE International is the only institute, okay, that is acknowledged over worldwide and has a certification system in value engineering and can issue an international certificate that is recognized and well known and acknowledged all over the world. Another milestone in 1964 by the Army Corps of Engineers being training their staff in value methodology. And then it goes more and more. This is just a snapshot about the value methodology historical major or most important milestone. Let's go to the lollipop, the first lollipop. We have 3 lollipops in this presentation. The first one is, what is value engineering as a process from the process perspective? Let us here highlight the major misconceptions, المفاهيم الخاطئة عن value engineering. Value engineering is not a cost-cutting exercise. Value engineering is not a quality degradation. Value engineering cannot be applied without sponsorship. What does it mean? Let's start with the first one. Value engineering is not a cost-cutting, and this is one of the major misconceptions about value engineering. Cost-cutting or cost reduction is not an attractive term in value engineering. We love the term cost optimization. We just look into the cost and try our best to satisfy the function, achieve and fulfill the only required level of quality with the performance requirement and attributes that would satisfy the main functions. However, remove and get rid of the unnecessary cost and the waste and those gold plating items that is cost money for unneeded functionality. This is going to be above the higher limit of needed quality in each function or of each performance attribute, and the client is going to pay the bill today and through the life cycle cost of the project or the product. So it's a matter of waste. So this is not a cutting of cost, this is an optimizing of cost. Okay, this is a reallocating of resources. This is a sustainable resource allocation. So value engineering is an organized, suitable process. It's not working like this arbitrary in a random way to cut the cost. No. Value engineering has a target that is simply adding value, improving value. How are we gonna improve value? There are many multiple ways to improve the value. All these ways based on having an organized and suitable process of looking into the cost and identify the greatest potential of enhancing the value by removing the unnecessary cost, getting rid of the gold-plated item, and maintain or at sometimes enhancing or improving the functionality while needed. Okay, this is number one, the first misconception. What about number two? Number two, that value engineering is not a process for quality degradation. Value engineering identifies opportunities, it works with opportunities, it raises a flag at the greatest potential of value enhancement while improving, as I said, or assuring the quality. So it's not a quality degradation. But if you have prepared a design that is above the requirement, that above the need, that is could be considered as a matter of waste, so I will just transform this design into its comfort zone between the lower and higher limits of quality that is required for this particular project, and I am still giving the client the output in the quality that he desires and can pay for it and fit his requirement and demand. Okay, so it's not a quality degradation. You was the one who had the gold-plated design. I'm not downgrading the quality. I'm putting it into the right place, and that's it. But going downstream of the minimum level of requirement quality of any output is not welcomed and not accepted in value engineering. That's why we can say that value engineering is not a quality degradation. Cannot be applied without a sponsor. You cannot apply value engineering for a client who is not eager to get the benefit of value engineering. Okay, you need a client, you need a proponent, you need a sponsor that looking forward for the results, that encourage people to do their utmost to optimize the cost and to enhance the value, and is waiting to see the result and would like to see that he got the optimum solution of investment, the business value, the optimum business value of investing each dollar and each 1 meter of his land or of his asset in the right way. Value engineering, again, the second lollipop, value engineering is different than the design review. Value engineering is not going into calculations, is not going into modeling, is not going into rectifying or correcting the design errors. This is not value engineering. It's all about generating recommendations and alternatives that give better value rather than what has been designed. Okay, at the high level. Value engineering is different than the scoping. When you start a project, okay, you should achieve the same output, but the means would be altered. The way would be changed to give you the same output through another pattern of thinking, through another pattern of doing things. Okay, but you will satisfy the function that you need. So, for example, if there is a mosque, like expansion of a mosque, which could accommodate 1,000 more people, and when we validate this number and we find it really an actual client demand, you should end up with a value engineering exercise that gives you 1,000, not 800. This is not a value engineering. Okay, so this scoping is not a value engineering. Number three, value engineering is not a cost estimation validation. You are not just validating the unit rates of the items in the price POQ or in the contractor bidding. And this is really the good thing in value engineering that contractors love now, because now all contractors have an issues with their project, that there is a change in the mindset of the client. All clients now are looking forward to optimize their cost post COVID-19. Okay, so the contractor, the smart contractor now will not play the classical game of claims and extension of time. Rather than they go through value engineering and they can share the benefit between the client and them. This is required another webinar to talk about how contractors could use value engineering as a magic key to transform a project from failure to success. Okay, to transform a project from a failing project, خسران, مشروع خسران, okay, to return on investment and to generate more revenue. Okay. Jumping into the methodology itself, how we can perform a value engineering, how I could do the value engineering. Okay, now those three classes. The first one is the pre-workshop stage, مرحلة الإعداد, مرحلة ما قبل ورشة العمل. So you need to start any value methodology stage. This is the know-how. This is the job plan. This is how you're going to perform a value engineering exercise. By starting with the pre-workshop stage. This is the first one, the green one. Okay, pre-workshop stage. This is number one. Okay. The second one should be the workshop stage. This is number two, the second stage. The last one and the third one should be the post-workshop stage. So it's not like, yalla, we will gather all the people, all the stakeholders, and then, yalla, we're going to start a value engineering workshop. It's not like this. Without having a proper preparation of some certain activities as per the international methodology of conducting value engineering, if you missed the pre-workshop stage, you are not doing a value engineering, and don't expect to have the proper results of value engineering. Okay, so don't come at the end and say it just give me some recommendation to reduce the raft from 100 depths to 900, and it's not it gives me a recommendation just to change marble to porcelain and porcelain to ceramic and ceramic to terrazzo, and that's it. This is not a good practice. I will not do value engineering again. You didn't do a value engineering. This was not a value engineering. Again, value engineering is back. I will be back to the first slide. Okay, sorry. Value engineering is a systematic process used by a multidisciplinary team to improve the value of the project by analyzing the function and the resources. If you didn't do that, this is not a value engineering. This is something else. It's not a cost cutting. If it transforms it to a cost cutting exercise, it's not a value engineering. It's not a quality degradation. If you end up with a degradation or downgrading in the quality that you know that you that encounter a very bad quality output that ruin your outputs, this is not a value engineering. If the sponsor, if the client was not here, was not participating, was not engaged in the value engineering, and he just leave it to the designer to do it without any proper sponsorship, this is not a value engineering. Don't expect creative results. Okay. So 3 stages: pre-workshop stage, workshop stage, and the post-workshop stage. The workshop stage, we will talk about it in a little bit more detail. The post-workshop stage entails or incorporates many activities like presenting the final results, reporting the value engineering recommendations, follow up with the designer or with the client in implementing those useful value engineering recommendations, the implementation itself, and waiting for the result to record and update our lesson learned database. This is a part of the post-workshop stage. Okay. What is this sandwich is for? This sandwich is the most optimum slide in our presentation. This is the international methodology of conducting value engineering. As we said, it's a systematic process. It's a systematic job plan. This is the main phases of the value engineering exercise, starting with information phase, which is number one, and then going to the second phase, function analysis, Then the third phase, creativity, evaluation, development, and presentation. Professional value engineers, the persons who got certified as a VMA with us, they know very well, even blinded, what are those 6 phases and how they can perform those 6 phases in a successful value engineering exercise. Starting with the information phase, you need to collect all the data. You need to gather all the useful project information. You need to composite the team. Okay, لازم تجمع كل الداتا، كل المعلومات المطلوبة عن المشروع. لازم تألف وتكون طاقم العمل متعدد التخصصات اللي هيقوم بتأدية هذه المهام. Okay, so gathering the required and useful data is one of the activities of the information phase. Composite or do the right team composition, identifying the value engineering objectives depending on the client needs and the project goals. So you need to recognize first the client needs, and then the project purpose, project objectives, and how it could fulfill those needs. And then you discuss with the client, why would you like to have value engineering? Why are you planning to have a value engineering exercise? What are the expectations? What are the objectives? Okay, what are the main points that I should focus on in my study? Okay, and then again, you gather the data, you collect all the useful data, you make the proper team composition, you prepare some sort of value and data models. There are a lot of tools, a lot of techniques in value engineering, okay, that we can talk about it in the later on in certified courses and in other webinars as well. When you are done with the information phase, you got the good and strong background about the project. You are well prepared. You can take those information, this background, you are at the same page with the other stakeholders, with the design team, with the client about the project information. You can go ahead for analyzing the functions without, as I said, it's a systematic process, steps, okay? Without having the proper level of information, sorry, you are not the right person to analyze the functions. Your team cannot analyze the functions. Otherwise, they will have it in a mismatch way. Okay, so this function analysis must, not could, must start after the information phase. And then the outputs of information, the outputs of the function analysis phase will will formulate the opportunities and the way of doing things for us so that we can start going for creativity. So value engineering is not about throwing ideas. It's not about offering alternatives. It's not working this way, okay? You need to have the right information. You need to finalize all the information phase successfully done. The outputs of this phase, through the creativity, you start utilize the outputs of the information phase and function analysis into a speculation and looking for innovative recommendations and solutions rather than what has been selected in the original design, in the baseline, so that it's about what else can do the job, what else could satisfy the functions, creativity, okay? And it has its own tools, its own techniques, and the ground rules into the value engineering international standards. And all of these phases must be led by a qualified facilitator who is experienced in utilizing the international standard of value engineering in a successful way to guarantee and demonstrate the effectiveness of this exercise. Because this exercise is sensitive, okay? And it's gonna destroy a project or transform a project from failure to success. After you creating the idea, you have a quantity of ideas. This creativity phase is working for quantity, is looking for a quantitative production rather than qualitative production. So now you have the quantity. The output of the creativity phase is going to be our input for the evaluation. So we start here the judgment of the ideas and the recommendations generated. See how much it is correlated. You cannot go for evaluation unless you are done with information, function analysis, and creativity. You cannot go for creativity unless you are properly done with information and function analysis. You cannot start the function analysis unless you have been properly done with information. That's it. So again, when evaluating the ideas, you have the ideas generated from the evaluation phase, and then you start evaluating those ideas and then developing the ideas that has been classified as a successful or added value recommendation, and then start presenting the initial thoughts of the value engineering exercise. So without developing the proposals and knowing more about the technical and financial benefits of each proposal, you cannot present anything. How are you going to present? You don't have something to present, something solid to present. Okay? And without having the evaluation and segregate the good from the bad, you will not go for developing all the ideas that you have created. It will be a mess. It will be a loss of time. Okay? So remember this sandwich and remember those 6 phases of having an international value engineering exercise. Okay? Let's go to the main topic, the benefits of value methodology in all industries and in construction. We cannot start talking about benefits unless you are done with the value mindset, which has been introduced in the previous 6 meals. Now we can give you a lollipop, another lollipop. The value methodology benefits in all industries is added profit, added profit. It's not only about saving money. Sometimes one of our alternatives is going to generate revenue, which is called the business value engineering model. So from using fewer parts, reducing the complications, reducing the production time, generating more revenue, all of this could be a sort of adding profit into value engineering exercise or results from a value engineering exercise. This could be done in construction, could be done in industry, in manufacturing, could be done on a process, could be done everywhere. Product enhancement through improving form, function, and customer satisfaction. So it's not about only money, it's about functionality. Sometimes we think that there is a gap in functionality. There is a gap in satisfying one of the functions. There is a value mismatch associated with one of the major or main functions. And we propose to the client some certain recommendation with additional cost, not cost saving, with additional cost, but it's needed. It should be there because it's going to generate a significant enhancement in the output, which the client needs, and will be willing to pay for that. Okay? Simplification, okay? Quicker, easier to produce. Okay, if I give you a production line that produce 1,000 piece of pen, okay, 1,000 pens in 10 minutes, rather than it was producing 700 in 10 minutes, I give you something. I give you simplification. If I have reduced the time, this is the benefit. If I have reduced the simplification, sorry, the time allocated to each process, it's a benefit, okay? Okay, now, in construction, let's focus about the value methodology or the value engineering mean number 8. The value methodology benefits in construction. Number 1, validate the functional and the program requirements. This is a very essential part of value engineering. Okay, working at the high level, when you start validating, examining the project purpose, the objectives, to make sure that it is here in the right way to fulfill the client needs, you start from the right kickoff, because we have encountered, and I'm talking about an experience of leading more than 55 projects over now, value engineering studies for projects. Okay, sometimes we found out that the developed idea of the project from the concept is not cooked or matured enough to fulfill the project needs. And the change is not just about it changing the material. It's not just about changing the system. You need to change the whole thing, because the whole thing is not going to fit into this project need. Okay. So you need to validate the functional and program requirements. This is one of the benefits of adopting value methodology in construction. Okay, creating stakeholder buy-in on the design and cost. We are all at the same page, so the all stakeholder can know about the design and the cost. Establish and review scope and cost target early, so you can know from earlier what about the cost and what about the target, that you could prepare yourself for an action plan if it is above target or if it is underestimated. Analyze the proposed improvement in terms of performance and life cycle cost. Life cycle cost is one of the major parts of value engineering, and many designs miss talking about the impact on life cycle cost. Value engineering is here to highlight the impact of this design into the life cycle cost, which is, again, the client is going to pay the bill over a long time, okay, over the whole lifespan of the project. So to conclude, value methodology benefit in construction is to validate the functional and program requirement, the project functional requirement and the program requirement, is to analyze the number two, the proposed improvements in terms of performance, not only money, in performance, and into the running cost, into the life cycle cost, create stakeholder buy-in, buy-in on the design and cost, establish and review the scope and cost target early. Okay. The last slide that we have here is the mean number 9. It's about another way of presenting the value engineering benefit in construction. It's about identify the glass, identify the unnecessary life cycle cost and the potential performance improvement. If the value engineering give you those things, it's a very successful value engineering. If it highlights and removes the unnecessary, not only capital cost, life cycle cost, and it highlights for you the potential and needed performance improvement, success is there. Offer alternatives while assuring quality, reliability, life cycle cost, and other critical design process. And then at the end, achieve the business value that meet or exceeds the client or customer expectations. So this is what we have for today. This is the value engineering benefit in construction. I hope that I was able to convey the message in simple words, and I hope that it was an interesting webinar. And thank you for listening. And if Hashim allow me, before jumping to the Q&A session, because I know that maybe this would be a popular question, I would love to be collaborating with you and to get in touch with everyone in this session once after we are done with the session. And maybe if we didn't answer all the question, feel free to post it to my LinkedIn account. I will just drop into the chat my LinkedIn account. So please connect with me into LinkedIn. It's there in the chat. I hope that all of you will can catch with that. Okay, this is my LinkedIn profile. Hope to be in touch. And additionally, those people who is interested to learn more about value engineering certified course, they can also communicate with VE experts team through the WhatsApp link that will be presented over here. So you can use additionally, you can use this link for communicating with our marketing team of VE expert. Thank you, Hashim. Thank you, everyone. The ball is in your court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed. A really wonderful session. Led quite a lot of information to take in there. Um, Thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. We all really appreciate it. I'm sure I can speak on behalf of the entire audience today. It was a very, very good presentation. It's very timely as well because I think at this time a lot of people are actually interested in this topic. A lot of people are actually doing big projects that require um, value engineering. This is coming up a lot because of the COVID situation and rethinking
Yeah.
how we do projects. So really, I think very timely for all our members from the PMI and the wider public. So really appreciate that.
Thank
We
you,
do
Hashim.
have a few questions that were submitted via the Q&A. So I'd like to go through those first, and then we'll open up the floor if there's still some time left. So the first question we have, actually, there's no name, unfortunately. Um, it says, is value stream mapping part of value engineering?
Value stream mapping is something that is really different from a value engineering. Value stream mapping is a part of the industry or the manufacturing process. It's something that is far away different from value engineering. The word value is there in earned value management, and it's there in value stream mapping. It's there in value engineering, but each knowledge dealing with the word value in another way. So don't confuse the terminologies together. Value engineering is, as I have clarified, the systematic process and those blah blah blah. Value stream mapping is something else.
Thank you for that. So the next question we had, also, I don't see the name. It just says Galaxy Note 8. So whoever you are, thank you for those questions. Is value engineering used in lean industry?
Yeah. There is a huge opportunity of integrating value engineering, especially post opportunity of integrating value engineering with many value mindset practices like agile, like lean management, like Scrum. And I think our followers, we have conducted a special webinar on integrating the agility with value engineering. And we will do the same because this is a long story and it's a new theme. Yeah, integrating the lean management, lean construction with value engineering is something that is really beneficial, but it needs to be populated and it needs more practical application. So it requires more integration modules and more webinars to talk about that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Hopefully that answers your question. Um, okay, so we have another question here from Mohammed Samir Al Masri. He says,
Yeah.
does value engineering have any integration with ISO systems, such as ISO 17020, which is with regards to third-party inspection bodies?
The answer is no. Clearly, non-value engineering doesn't have anything to do with ISO.
Okay. Um, we have two questions from We have one question from Asma Tariq, who's requesting whether we will be able to claim for PDUs. Yes, Asma, you will. I believe the PMI will tell you how to claim the 1 hour PDU or the one PDU or CEU. Another question from Muad is, are we going to share the slides? I believe we will, and please look for the PMI's response on that. So I'm sure we will be sharing that with you. So we have another interesting question.
5 questions.
Okay, you have one more question. Well, we have quite a few more, but I'll just take one that's very related to VE. It's actually regarding certification. I think Mr. Sayed, you can take that one offline. Is there VE due? Mr. Ahmed Al Faifi says, is there VE during initiating and planning phases?
Again, please.
Is there value engineering during the initiation and planning phases?
Yeah, let me clarify this one further. Value engineering is the right time of doing value engineering is through the design phase. And we always recommend for the regular project to perform value engineering at 30% to 50% design progression. Because when you complete your design, or when you are more than 60, 70, 80% of your design, the resistance to the change would be higher from the designer, who is the one who developed this project, and he will be the one who is familiar with how to adopt or to kill the ideas generated from value engineering. So we need to avoid this resistance, and we need to avoid also the negative impact of the additional cost associated with the variation order of redesigning the whole thing. So it would be better to do the value engineering at the design stage, which is a part of the planning process, regularly from 30% to 50%. Some large value engineering projects, some large projects require value engineering to be done more than one time, 2 times or 3 times. If you refer to Abu Dhabi municipality value engineering guidelines, it states clearly that there is a range of projects. If your project is higher than, I'm not, cannot remember the numbers, is higher than maybe 20 million dirham, okay, you need to do one value engineering at the conceptual stage. If it is from 20 to, for example, I cannot remember the numbers, 20 to 100 or 120, so it requires 2 value engineering. One at the very early conceptual at 15%, 20%, and another one at 50 to 60%. If it is larger than 120 million, it requires 3 value engineering exercises. One at the early conceptual stage, one at the mid, 30 to 50, and one at the late stage of the design progression, 70 to 80 to 90%. This is a pre-planned exercise of incorporating value engineering into the design process and into the whole life cycle project, the life cycle of developing a project plan.
So it's inside of the planning stages of the project. It's predetermined that it will be a process that gets followed during the design phase. Wow, that's
yeah. The simple answer is your answer. It's inside the planning phase.
Yeah. I'll just take one more question, and then we'll stop there. We have a question from Mr. Kareem Abdul Majid, who's asking for the difference between value engineering and feasibility studies.
Yeah. Value engineering is different than feasibility study. Feasibility study doesn't work with a baseline. You bring the consultant to do the feasibility study of doing business. You don't know how to invest your money. For example, you don't know if you would like to build a hospital or a school or a club. This is not a value engineering. This requires a feasibility study consultant. He will study the market for you. He will study your experience. Maybe he is going to study the demand and give you the feasibility study of the three projects, and maybe utilizing also the life cycle cost analysis, but not as a choice. It's for an assessment, okay, for assessing the three alternatives and give you the one that will have the most or the best return on investment. This is, in simple words, the feasibility study. Value engineering is just after the fact, after you have already decided to go with the school or with the hospital or with the club project, and you have prepared a certain level of planning or of developing a design of this project, you go to the value engineer to revalidate everything with you and to examine the business value to a prospective client.
Can I add to that? I think one of the
Sure.
things that your value engineering is much more important at the earliest stage, because it's easier to adopt any changes, right? Because as the design progresses and as you actually get onto site, it becomes very difficult and almost
Yeah.
impossible to then reverse anything that's already been agreed, right?
Yeah, the resistance would be very high.
Okay.
Thank you.
So one question from me, and I think this is for the audience as well, is
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of questions will be asked, and there is actually quite a few questions regarding how do people get more information on value engineering, on the training opportunities that
Yeah.
exist, and on the certification opportunities that exist in this field. It's obviously struck a chord with a lot of the audience, and everybody is really interested in this field right now, and hot topic as we discussed.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to share in then before we
Yeah.
end.
SAFE International offers two levels of certification. The first level is the Value Methodology Associate level, VMA. VMA is an international certification in value engineering that is highly recognized and internationally acknowledged for those who would start from scratch the value engineering, who would like to learn how to be a value engineer, how to participate in a value engineering exercise. And it's a 32 hours course approved by SAFE International. The course curriculum is unified by SAFE International. It's coming from SAFE International. It's not my thoughts. It's not another instructor thoughts. SAFE International has unified the curriculum of the value methodology fundamental course, which is a prerequisite, which is the sole prerequisite for VMA certification, to be the same for all value methodology certified courses. So if you take this course in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in Mexico, you got the same core material. However, in VE Experts, we are adding many supplements to this material, introducing case studies, introducing mock exams, introducing more about the particular experience of leading substantial projects like the third profit of the third expansion of Prophet Mosque, Quba expansion Mosque, Al Madina. We are adding all of the lesson learned of this substantial and unique value engineering studies into the course. So you get three things: you get the knowledge, you get the certification, and you get the ability to perform value engineering. Okay. This course, as I said, is 32 hours, and it is conducted online till the end of the year. The license from SAFE International for their licensed instructor is to conduct, for those who is approved to train online, is to conduct value engineering virtually online, totally interactive till the end of the year. We have conducted 4 courses from starting the COVID-19 through VE Experts, and we are going to conduct more, inshallah. Okay. Yeah. Any details about the certification and how you can enroll in the course, we can leave it out of the session. You can keep this one academic, and you can contact with us later on. But this is how the certification works in SAFE International. This is VMA, the first level, and the second level called the CVS, Certified Value Specialist. And there is actually a big gap between the VMA and CVS. However, it's like this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Ahmed.
Thank you.
There's so many questions. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to answer all of them. I'd say to the audience, if you have, Engineer Ahmed has shared his LinkedIn profile and some
Ah,
details, and you can get in touch with him. Unfortunately, we only have that much of time.
yeah.
Um, we want to thank Mr. Ahmed very much for this presentation. Um, on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of the PMI KSA. And we'd like to also thank the PMI KSA for hosting this event. And I'm sure it's been great for everybody, good knowledge sharing, and just learning something new every day. And that's the purpose of having these sessions. So thank you all. Thank you for participating. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for all your time. And thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Hashim, and thank you, BMI KSA, for allowing the opportunity for this interaction and for this webinar. And looking forward for more and more informative webinar. We are learning from each other. Thank you, Hashim. Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you, everyone who collaborated and participated in this event. And see you again, inshallah. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Goodbye.
Take care. Thank you. Salam alaikum.